What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another video here of The Bad Philosopher. I am Rick Knight. In this video, I'd like to talk about recent comments that the Dalai Lama made in, I believe it was September in Sweden. He was giving a speech. I believe it was Sweden. He made some statements saying that the refugees, the migrants pouring into Europe should eventually go back to their country of origin and help rebuild their society and their nation, that Europe is for Europeans. Germany is for Germany, England is for the English, and so on. A lot of people in the European Union, a lot of the elite members of the European Union, such as the Chancellor of Germany and the Prime Minister of England and France, very upset at his comments, and he's being called a far right-wing nationalist and an extremist, and they haven't called him, I believe, a white supremacist for obvious reasons. You know, I can't say I disagree with what he's saying. Europe is for Europeans. Africa is for Africans. South America is for South Americans. Now, moving from one nation to the next, you know, migrating to another state is, you know, nothing wrong with it if you want to move someplace else. I mean, people move all the time. But when you get this pouring in of migrants from one country to the next at such a rapid pace, at such a high level of migration that Europe is seeing, you change the demographic. Now, for some reason, only the European nations, only the Western society or the white societies in this world have to allow everyone in. We have to open the doors and let people come in. If we don't, we're bigots, we're racist, we're xenophobics, we're all of the isms and phobia. We have all the phobias for not letting the entire world come into our countries. Now, not to say that I'm for an ethno-state, but it seems that only white countries cannot be an ethno-state. Every other country is perfectly fine. If you go to Japan, it's a Japanese country. It's Japanese ran. Most of the citizens are Japanese. They want to keep it that way. That's their culture. That's their heritage. That's their country, their place of birth. They want to keep their legacy. You go to Mexico, it's a Mexican country, there's Mexican people, they want to keep their ancestry, they want to keep their history, they want to keep their state, they want to keep it majority Mexican, they have every right to, that's their culture. Same thing if you go to Haiti, if you go to countries in Africa, you go throughout the world to all the different countries, and people want to keep their state and their home to be what it has been all of this time, but only the countries that are of white origin is not allowed to continue to be a white majority country. We have to want to ruin that. We want to tear that down. The self-loathing white liberal thinks that we should open the door and allow everyone to come in. So the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, whatever her name is on board with that, just flooding her country with migrants from Africa and from the Middle East, and it won't be too long before Germany becomes an Islamic state. Theresa May of England, same thing, just opening the doors, let everybody come in. They already overtook London. They're going to overtake the rest of England, and Europe is going to fall, and it's not going to be Europe anymore. It won't be Europeans anymore, and the self-loathing white liberal is allowing that to happen. This is what they want to happen. The Dalai Lama spoke out against that, saying that the migrants should eventually go back home and help rebuild the country they left, because if not, what's going to happen is they're going to turn the countries that they're in into the country that they left. Now, I know it sounds bad. You're home, you're home, you're watching this, you're probably like, oh, this racist guy, what is he talking about? But just look at it this way. I'm a New Yorker, born and raised in Brooklyn. A lot of us tend to move out. We tend to move to other states, or maybe we'll move to Jersey. Then, usually from Brooklyn, we go from Brooklyn to Staten Island to Jersey, and then if you're Jewish like me, to Florida. I can see where people in those states when they see a high influx of New Yorkers coming in, I can see where they're saying that this is not their home anymore. This is not where they're from anymore. This is not, this is not Florida anymore. This is not Jersey anymore. This is not, whatever it is. A lot of New Yorkers are also moving upstate New York, so I can imagine people from upstate, say, this is not Brooklyn, this is not Queens, but now everyone who's coming here is from there, and it just changes the whole demographic of our community, and it's not, it's just not the same. But we're all Americans, so it's a little different than people coming from another country with a completely different culture that changes the demographic. That's what's happening throughout Europe. But like I said, if you take a bunch of, New Yorkers from New York City and you bring them to another state, and you change the atmosphere of that state, you have a lot of people there that won't appreciate it very much because they feel that their heritage of that state or that county or that area is going to be lost. Their culture there, their history there, being third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh generation Americans living in this area of, whatever state it is, and now it's being overran by people from another state. And it kind of changes. That's what we're going through here in New York. You have a lot of people from outside of New York City, outside of New York, that moved here. We call them hipsters. We have different names for them. And most New Yorkers, we don't like it. It changes everything. The city is just not, it's not home anymore. It's not New York anymore. I feel like a stranger in my own home when you go out to get a beer and there's no more native New Yorkers anymore. So. But we're all Americans and the culture is very similar, so it's not the same. But when you're a European and the doors open up and people just flooding in from countries, from the African countries and from the Middle East, and they bring a completely different culture and a different language and a different everything, and you completely change the country to where you can't recognize it anymore, it's a problem. We have different ideas, different ways of life. Multiculturalism can't work. It doesn't work. Mixing two cultures that are complete opposite of each other will never work. There'll always be a conflict because one culture has a certain set of morality than the other culture, right? The morality is not always the same. I know some people think that morality is relative, but if you really examine it, there is universal truth. There is a universal moral system. Morality is objective in many, many ways. I did a video about that. Having a culture coming in that is not on par with your morality changes the demographic big time. And this is what's happening. So the Dalai Lama spoke out about it, and he's being now criticized by the elites of the European Union and of the self-loathing white liberals that are now coming down on him, saying what he said was extreme and he's a far-right nationalist, and he just recognizes a problem. I mean, I don't agree with the Dalai Lama in a lot of ways and a lot of different things. The religious aspect is not me. I don't care for it. There's other criticisms that could be had for the Dalai Lama. But I think he's on point with this message. I think he's pretty right on this one, that Europe belongs to the Europeans. It's a European country. It always has been. It always has been a country of white people. That's what Europe has always been. They have every right to want to maintain that. They have every right to want to keep it. They have every right to want to fight for their culture, their heritage. They have every right to do this. I know people get upset about the history of white people with the imperialism and colonialism and all that stuff, and now you're seeing that happen to Europe right now by another culture coming in and colonizing Europe. And some people might say, well, that's, it's karma, you deserve it, but no one actually deserves that. And if we really wanted to play that game, then a lot of countries would have to fall and give their land up back, give back to some other culture from history. I mean, the Africans would be mad at Saudi Arabia for the years of slavery that they had way before the white man went into Africa to take slaves, and it lasted even afterwards. And there's still reports to this day of slavery going on from Africa into the Middle East. So, but we don't see that. We don't see this hatred or this anger for Saudi Arabia. We don't see any other nations really stepping in and accepting any migrants. It's only European nations and America and Canada and Australia, the Western societies, must open their doors and must have diversity and inclusion and equality for the entire world, but we don't deserve any of it back. Europe is going to fall soon. We're a few decades away from it slipping, and it won't be recognizable anymore. The people of Europe have every right to want to maintain their culture and their heritage, just like every other country. Every nation has the right to want to protect who they are and their identity. But to the left, only us. We're the only ones that don't have the right to protect who we are. So I think the Dalai Lama was right on this one. They should go back and they should rebuild the country they came from. They should, you go to the Western world, you receive education, you can work, you can earn money, you could take what you gained from being in the European nations and you can bring it back with you to the country you left, and bring those values back and rebuild. It's as simple as copy and paste. You see what the Western world is like. The rest of the world that's fallen behind needs to copy and paste our method of our plan and everything we've done to design and construct the societies that we live in. So I got today. I just wanted to put that out there. Let me know if you agree with me. Comment on the bottom, hit the like. You know the drill. Hit that bell over there somewhere. Like, dislike, whatever the case may be. And I'll see you on the next video.